Hi guys, I'm Emily Crossman and this is my personal video for Gender Race Identity 201 for Jody Likes. I guess to start off, I'll just say what we all said the first day of class, which was our gender, our race, and our sexual orientation. So I'm a straight white female, and the fact that we all had to stand up the first day of class and say that's how I knew this class would be different rather than any other class I've been in, because if you're in a sociology class or a history class, of course you're going to talk about those things, mainly race, but you're never really going to know those things about other students in your class. Especially being here at this university, you look around and you're in your class of 300 people, and those are things you're definitely not going to sit next to and be like, hey, what's your sexual orientation? Definitely wouldn't do that other than in this class. My background with schooling, so I grew up in Carson City, Nevada. So from elementary school all the way through high school, it was primarily white and Mexican kids. Growing up, there were never any black people around. I remember being primarily friends with Hispanics actually, and then once I got to high school that changed, and like it was like this separation. It was like the color line, like I kind of discussed in my personal paper, but I never knew the word for it. I never knew how to say in high school there was a white space and then there was a non-white space, but that's exactly what it was. My, like, I guess internationality, I'm German, and I have a lot of family members that were actually born in Germany. They speak German, and I kind of want to talk about that just because I noticed that with a lot of students in our class, they talked about how because they don't identify as white, they spent kind of their childhood wishing they were white or trying to fit into that white space. And then although yes, like Germans are white, I noticed kind of with my dad growing up that he didn't really want to express that like other side of him, like the fact that he could speak German. And like my family members too, they want to act as if like they weren't born in Germany. They always want to be like, no, I'm American and I speak English, even though that's not the national language, but a lot of people want it to be. I just kind of found that interesting because although I can't relate to that, I notice a lot of my family members spent a lot of their life suppressing kind of another side of them. And you notice with every type of identity, people will do that. They'll suppress whatever isn't white or socially acceptable in America, and other countries too. I think what I really took from this class is the fact that you don't just have to identify with your race and your gender and your sexual orientation. And although those are the things that make us who we are and they make up our past, you don't just have to identify with those things. It can be your religion, a disability, your mental health, your citizenship, your profession, even your marriage status. I found that really interesting because growing up you just think, oh, well, I'm just a straight white female or I'm just a black male. You don't ever think about the other things that you can identify with. The next thing that I really want to talk about is something that I felt in class I could really relate to, which was how it feels to be a woman and the things that you go through and the fact that men will never understand that. Thank you, Alondra, for that one day in class when we were bringing it back to class and you were like, I would just like to talk about the fact that this happened and I felt really uncomfortable. And then that was like the one class where like every woman was like, ooh, yes, I want to talk about this. And that was the one time that I really wanted to talk about it because I noticed that at this university and just in everyday life in general, it's just that constant thought in the back of your head, like, who is that man and does he want to do something to hurt me? And like, every time I get in the elevator, I'm scared if it's just me and another male. And although it shouldn't be that way, and I shouldn't let it be that way, it's just kind of what we've been conditioned into, and it's what we're used to. So when it comes to that, just the fear that women have, there are so many things that need to be done, and there's different ways that we could all approach it, and I think that kind of starts with the whole idea of toxic masculinity. We see it in our everyday lives. That's kind of what I touched on, and also my partner Lupe, what we touched on in our group video. Just the fact that that's what we're surrounded by, and there's so many things that we could be doing. And I think what that starts with is the whole idea that we tell men what they're allowed to express and what they're not allowed to express, and it's always the opposition, like, don't act like a woman, don't act like a gay guy, don't act like a transgender person. It's always, don't be that so you can fit into what a man is supposed to be. And I think that's where it really starts, and where the problem has began, and why it's grown to be a set standard and a norm for our everyday lives, is because it's always in opposition of others. So to sum up everything that I talked about in this video, I'm just really thankful for this class. Although during class I didn't have much to say, I was more interested in hearing what other people had to say and where they were coming from. It just kind of sounded like other people had more experiences and things that they really wanted to touch on. So I'm glad that I got to hear everyone else's opinion. And of course I still have mine too, but with this class I know that in the future when there's a problem and there's something being said that I know should not be said, I know how to approach it, I know how to talk about it, and that's basically it. So thank you.